What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to talk about every reason or every excuse that people give us as to why they don't start selling books. In other words, every single reason why book selling is not the best business model to go with. And this is, I think, a really important video because almost everyone at some point has some level of doubt in each of these things. And there's a ton of them, Victor. This is going to be a fun video because at this point, we just laugh, because we hear these things so often and they're just not true. But it comes from a place of people feeling as, it's too good to be true. This actually can't be the reality. But before we get into it, what's going on, Victor?
What's up, Georgie? And me and you have heard about these excuses for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Every year, almost every week, people come to me and tell me, "Oh, this is the end. Oh, definitely sales on Amazon's going. Amazon's going to stop booksellers soon, or they're going to stop selling books, or there's so many excuses. We'll get into it, but
Yeah.
I hear these all the time, and we put these together, and I think it's an awesome list. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Probably the thing I hear the most, Victor,
Yeah,
and this goes to just talking with people in public when we talk about what we do, so, oh, I'm a teacher or, I do this. And then they ask what we do. We're like, oh yeah, we sell books on Amazon. And they're always like, wait, but do people still read books? Or
yeah,
wait, I thought books were dying. And the thing when we talk about us being booksellers, are like, well, is there really like a future in that? Like,
yeah, yeah,
are we going to PDS and like electronic books? Aren't people like, did people even read anymore? Like, I thought that
yeah.
that's not a thing.
I hear that all the time. People tell me, well, yeah, how do you selling textbooks anymore? When I've heard most students are just getting PDFs of them of books and stuff. And I've been hearing that for at least the entire time I've been selling books. I've been hearing that same thing. And literally, when I first started, I actually thought, well, maybe they're correct. All these people have told me that, but we've been at this for like 7 years, and we continue to sell books.
And not only that, we did always I just continue to sell more and more every year.
More and more books, yeah. I've
And
continued to be more and more successful with books every year.
yeah, I don't have a hard time at all going on Amazon and finding textbooks that are being published this year, like literally physical textbooks that are being published this year. If you go to a college campus, like I see people walking around with books. I don't see people walking around with like iPads and they're reading their PDFs. And I'm not saying that there aren't PDFs and there are electronic copies, but obviously there are. But to think that such a massive category of books is all going digital, like, oh yeah, this 1978, fly fishing in the high Sierra Nevada mountains. Oh, that's going to PDF. That that
Yeah,
that that physical book, nope, that's gonna be worthless. That's going to PDF. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
people love holding physical books.
Yeah, I mean, let's think of, like, all the junior highs, elementary schools, high schools, when they get assigned books, textbooks that they bring home and go and take, tests from them and study from them and stuff. Those are textbooks that we sell, and you guys think, for some reason, that those are gonna go away. What are you gonna give a nine-year-old? Are you gonna give a nine-year-old a PDF? Think about it.
I mean,
But
in high school now, there are like they do have Chromebooks, and yeah, they do readings and stuff online. But no, there's still physical books in the room, and I mean, I don't whenever I walk into a Barnes& and Noble, I'm like, "Why are there so many people here?" There's, like, so many like, there's always so many people in Barnes& and Noble, and they're, like, reading physical people just love physical books, and I guess the point I'm trying to make with this first point is, whenever someone says, "Oh, yeah, but that's a dying category because, books physical books are a thing in the past," I'm sorry, you're not gonna make it. Like, if that's where you're starting at, like, you already are not understanding the scale.
you're not in the right mindset here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because have you been to a library?
Yeah.
Those libraries have books in them. I don't get what they're thinking because there's hundreds of millions of books and
Yeah.
they're gonna continue to be selling. So, yeah,
No. Okay. Next thing that we hear all the time about why you cannot be successful or why you can't start book selling is because I'm gated every book. Gated in every book that I scanned 10 books today, couldn't sell but one. And that means
yeah,
because I scanned 10 and couldn't sell one, that means every book on Amazon I'm gated in.
yep. This is useless for me. I've scanned so many books and I only can sell 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I get those messages all the time. Like, I don't know, maybe for you guys because you guys are like seasoned sellers who've been selling for years or something, you can sell more than me. But I've only been able I've scanned all these books. I've scanned 20 books and only were able to sell 2 of them. And they think because of that, they're just initially somehow now they're not going to be able to be a bookseller. And it's just not true.
Yeah. And we won't lie, that is one of the biggest hurdles is getting ungated in books. And certainly as you start selling the books that you can sell, you will start getting automatically ungated and that book category will open up to you. But most of the time when people reach out to us and say every book is gated, my question is like, well, how many books do you try to sell? Like for specifically a book mine, they'll be like, oh, I looked at the first page and I couldn't sell any of them. I'm like, It's 25 books." It's
Yeah.
like you're only gonna look at 25 books out of 100 million books, and then you can tell me that, "Oh, the whole category is gated, like, there's no possibility." What we've seen is that if that level of that obstacle or that challenge is gonna prevent you from moving forward, you're not gonna make it. Because
Yeah.
that's such a small thing in the beginning to get over because it really doesn't take, buying it really doesn't take much to just start buying a few of those that you can sell and actually start to sell some of them before it opens up the floodgates that if that's blocking you, you're just not gonna make it, plain and simple.
You're not
So
gonna make it, and maybe it's a good way that Amazon does this because you have
yeah,
to sell between 20 to 25 books is what we see. If you're able to sell 25 books, a ton of the books that are on Amazon will start being ungated for you.
yep,
So get to 25 books, and then you're gonna be a seasoned seller like us. And that's
yep,
it. That 25 books, you can sell 25 books in a week. You
yep,
know, so get that done, and then the rest of Amazon will be unlocked.
there you go. Another thing that we hear all the time, and this is when we're just talking to people in everyday life. Oh, so wait, so you buy the book on Amazon and then you resell it. Wait, so you're just a drop shipper. You did I heard drop shipping's illegal. You're not allowed to drop ship on Amazon. And so, no, that's a failed model. Can't do that. And you're like, but do you understand what drop shipping is? And let's define what drop shipping is so people understand it. So you want to talk about what drop shipping is and how that's not what we're doing?
Yeah. So what a drop shipper does is offer products that they don't own.
Yeah.
Who own the products that they're selling. They're the night before Christmas, they're selling it without owning any physical copies of it. And then once they sell a copy of their book that they don't own, that they don't have any copies of, then they'll go and buy it and try to get that buyer to send it to the seller that they just sold the book to.
Yeah.
And that's called drop shipping. And that's illegal on Amazon. But it's not what we do.
Yeah.
We are actual booksellers. We buy books, we get them prepped at a prep center, we get them sent to Amazon, and they sit at an Amazon warehouse, and then we sell them.
Yep.
Completely different models. Our model is 100% legal. Like
Yep.
Amazon's fine with it. Everyone's fine. What were we doing? We've been doing this for 7 years. Our accounts haven't been shut down. This is what we do.
Yeah. We're not drop shipping. We own
Yeah.
the physical
Not
product.
shipping.
We're actually buying the asset. We're buying this book. It sits in our inventory. We're taking the risk of if it doesn't sell, well, too bad. If it does sell, great. But we actually are ourselves owning a product. So that product's being transferred to us, and then we're transferring that product over to the person that actually buys it. And so, no, we're not drop shipping. We are doing Amazon to Amazon book flipping. We're doing online book arbitrage, but that's not drop shipping. Next thing, Victor,
Yeah.
storage fees. Storage fees. Actually, I just got a comment on the Bookmine YouTube channel today, and let me see if I can find it real quick and I can read it. But everyone is always talking about how bad the storage fees are. And I don't know. I mean, maybe they just think that we're paying like thousands and thousands of dollars in storage fees. And but the reality is the margins on all these books are so high that it's really just crazy how people get so fed up over I guess what I'm saying is, like, they don't really understand how much they're actually being charged. So, you wanna go ahead and Victor, while I look at this comment real quick, just talk about how much are you actually being charged per month to keep it at an Amazon warehouse sitting on shelf?
And this happens all the time. We get a ton of people on my Facebook page, on Joji's YouTube channel. Anytime we're talking to people, like, because what I do and what Joji does is we buy books and we sell them much later in in the year, right? So
Yep,
between 2 and 6 months, sometimes even a year later. And immediately people tell us, "Oh my gosh, but don't you pay so much money in storage fees?" And I just constantly think like, if you're worried about storage fees, then you don't know what we do here.
yeah,
The storage fees of a book is so small that I don't even think about it in my fees. I don't even add it to my fees of what I'm buying the book for and what like because I buy a book for $12, I add $2.50 for prep fees, and then that's what I say is my cost. I don't actually add the storage fees because the storage fees for a book are so small, which I'll tell you, a storage fee for a book is about 3 cents a month. Okay. And I'm buying the night before Christmas for $8 and I'm selling it for 40 and I'm going to make $20 and I'm going to be worried about 3 cents. You, you've lost it. Like you're not doing this business correctly if you're worried about 3 cents for 3 months. 9 cents. Okay. So you're not going to buy the book because now you're lost out of 9 cents. Okay. Stop these comments. They're maddening. They actually get me really frustrated when you guys are like, oh, the storage fees.
Storage
Anyway,
fees.
go ahead and find the comment, Joji.
Yeah, here it is. So here's the comment. So if you buy a book in March to sell in August, you send it to a prep center and they ship it immediately to FBA to sit for 5 months. Well, I guess it's worth the storage fee to not store it at home. Guys, I mean, 3 cents per month, right? So you're talking sitting there for 5 months, 15 cents for that book. I mean, the margin that we're making all these books is incredible. So I think the first thing is people just to understand what the storage fees are. That's like literally what it comes out. And obviously it's different based upon the weight of the book. So some might be a little bit higher than that, some might be a little bit less than that. But the thing that you have to also understand is that there's also tremendous value in the book not sitting at your home. And what people don't understand when they're thinking of this is that you are paying for the storage at your own house if you decide to store it at your own house too. Let me explain. Nobody lives for free anywhere,
Yeah.
right? What I mean by that is if you rent an apartment or you actually own a house and you have a mortgage, you have a monthly payment for the space by square footage. In other words,
Right.
you have a payment for square footage. The amount of space that a book would take up in your house and the amount you would have to pay for that space in your house is far greater than the amount of space that you'd have to pay for to sit in an Amazon warehouse. So it actually makes no sense to keep your book at your home. So you think you're saving, right, for storage, but in reality you're not because you're taking space from your home that could otherwise be used for something else, and you're paying way more for it because you do have to pay for a monthly fee to live. I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Yeah, also on Amazon, it's more secure. If the book is lost, Amazon will pay you, reimburse you for that, book.
Yeah,
If the book gets damaged at your house, you're just out of luck,
out of
right?
luck.
If you get, like, a flood in your house and your books are damaged, oh, well, but Amazon will reimburse you if through their warehouse, something happens to your book, and so
Yeah,
that's another benefit there, and who right now, we're saying the worst case scenario. You buy the book in March and you're gonna sell it in August, right? We're buying maybe a high school book is what probably the example is here.
yeah,
But I've sold a ton of high school books in May, June,
yeah,
July, and then in August. So what I'm saying is you send it in for the worst case scenario is 15 cents, but it's probably only gonna cost you like 6 or 9 cents. So this is the longest I've ever spent on explaining why 9 cents is not bad. But don't worry about 9 cents.
yeah.
Ship the books in.
And people will say, "Well, Joji, I had Christmas books and they didn't sell. What do I do? Do I get it removed?" I'm like, "Yo, keep it there. You're gonna pay $2.75 to get it shipped back to your house?" I'm like, "You probably wouldn't even pay $2.75 over the next year for literally to sit there a whole nother 12 months and just stay on a warehouse shelf and then sell the next year." So,
We're talking about 40 cents. If you don't sell your Christmas book this year and you have to go a whole another year, you're gonna pay 40 cents in storage fees.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Next reason, and Victor, you've heard this a lot specifically
Yeah.
because I'm going to recommend this. Victor, I like your model book, but dude, books are just heavy. They're kind of dusty. They smell weird. Like, yeah, that's cool. But I like brand new shoes because brand new shoes, oh, they got a beautiful smell to them. They look so beautiful. So, I mean, what's wrong with that statement?
So a lot of people tell me, "Well, Victor, I don't want to get into books because they're heavy. Picking them up, my back is bad." I've heard that. I've heard the like, "Oh, I can't have the books because like they're dusty in the corner." And I tell these people, "Well, I don't do that. I don't do what you guys are thinking books are. I don't actually touch any of the books I have, right? So who cares if they're heavy? I don't deal with them. I buy them. They ship to a prep center and they ship to Amazon. So
Yeah.
in our model, we don't worry whether or not a book is heavy or not. And so again, stop giving us excuses. We already fixed that problem.
Yeah.
We don't touch any of the books we have.
Yeah. As simple as that. Next
Yep.
thing. Amazon shuts you down for random reasons. They won't tell you any reason why my account shut down. No idea what happened. It just and this happens to both me and you often where someone will reach out and say, "Hey, Joji, Victor, I had a section 3, my account's being deactivated. I'm suspended. I have no idea why." And our thought is always like, okay, there's got to be a reason. Like Amazon doesn't just shut you down. Like there's got to be some sort of track record that they built up that you're doing something or violating something. And so our goal is always to get to the bottom of it to figure out, well, what's the reason? Because it's not just some willy nilly reason. There's always something for it. So, the easy one's like, yeah, I have no idea why I'm at risk of suspension. And they're like, and we get down to a little bit like, oh, but I did change my address and I haven't verified my address yet. I'm like, well, that's the reason why you're at risk of deactivation because you gotta do that. Or my favorite one's like, "Oh, wait, I forgot to tell you, Victor. So, yeah, a couple months ago, I got a couple of counterfeit claims,
Yeah.
and, yeah, actually, I didn't do anything. I just let them sit there." And you're like, "What are you talking about? That's the reason why your accounts get" like, anyways.
Behind the scenes, I get a lot of comments like that. So, front facing, people will go on Facebook and write that their account has been suspended. They only buy the green books, the books on the book run counterfeit checker that are green. They've never bought any counterfeit books, and now their account is shut down. And of course, it stresses out our community, right? Oh my gosh, somebody's getting suspended, even though all their books came back as not being counterfeit likely. And then writing them, right, and DMing them, trying to help them through their plan of action to try to get their account back. I realized it has nothing to do with books. What the people are doing are like, one was the address, another one was, oh yeah, I did sell some TI-89 calculators and I didn't have the receipts for them. I bought them off Facebook Marketplace and a few people thought they were counterfeit. Well, okay, what's the reason? Oh, at the bottom of it. There's nothing to do with the books. Why are you worrying this community if that's not having to do with anything with the books, right? With the books that we're buying and selling. So Amazon, for the most part, or very rarely will shut your account down for no reason, right? This doesn't happen. They're making you money off of
There's a
us, right?
reason. There is a reason why, right? And that will be a documented reason on their part. Oh, oh, wait, I get wait. So they did send me an email policy notification where that was like a couple months ago though. I was like a month. Oh, and then they sent this other email too, but I didn't see that. It's like there's always a reason.
Oh, I didn't respond to them. I didn't know.
Yeah, and again, the whole point of this video is
Yeah.
we're trying to have a good time and really just us ourselves kind of vent with all of the reasons people say no and show you how silly they are.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
really, you can do it. You can get started if you want to. But if you want all these things that pop up in your face that appear to be challenges, like if you want them to be challenges and you want them to prevent you from going forward and moving forward, they can do that. These can easily prevent you from moving forward if you believe them. But the reality of it is that most of these are just nonsense. So we're gonna keep going because we've got a long list of reasons why people just can't sell books at Amazon. So here's another one. Victor Joji, that's great. You sell college textbooks. I get it. You buy them in October, November. You ship them to the prep center. Okay, they get there in January.
Mhm.
But they're college books. And I heard all college students these days, right? They don't have any money, right? They're all in debt. And so what they'll do is they'll buy your book, they use it for the whole semester. And then when they're done, they'll return it. And then when they return it, you're out that money. You actually didn't
Yeah.
make any money. And it's as if every single book that you sell, every single college book is gonna have this. And isn't that just ridiculous?
Yeah, so they'll hear this one example of somebody returning something 6 months ago, or somebody buying a book 6 months ago and then returning it 6 months later, and you're like, "Oh, guys, see, there you go. That's how we're gonna lose all of our money." And it's crazy because we sell used books, right?
Yeah.
So we sell first off, there's so many positives of used books, right? We sell a used book, and when after we sell the used book to a customer and the return or the and a customer returns that book, guess what? It comes back as a used book. So we can we can get that book and sell it again. It's not like we sold brand new shoes, right? We sold a brand new pair of shoes and we sell it to a customer. The customer used it for a week or two and then returned them. They are now used shoes, right? So they went from new to used and has really dropped in price because now it's a used product. But we're selling used and it's still used. So there's no difference in as far as the value is concerned. We didn't lose anything when our customers returned it to us. And then we're able to resell it back again And yes, it's gonna charge us like a return fee of like $3 or $4. But again, our margins are so high, who cares? But on top of that, books have a low return rate. Like our customers return about 5, 6% of our books every year. So that's nothing compared to every other retail like brand out there. Like, shoes are like 25%. Customers are returning 25% of the shoes that they're buying, like 20% of shirts and socks and stuff, but not with books. We're talking about 5 or 6%. It's unheard of. And yet people here are still complaining about it, which
Yep.
again just bothers me because how can you complain about 5 or 6? Where else are you going to find 5 or 6% there is in the market out there like this?
And then to bring back your earlier point is
Yep.
it comes back used. So then
Yeah.
you send it back in and just sell it again. And so the
Yep.
real return rate is much, much lower, 1%, 2%, because when in most cases, when someone returns a book, again, it's still a used book that's still sellable. And if it's still sellable, then you can send it back in. And the crazy thing about it is that because it was a used book, it's not like the price has really gone down very, very much, like you mentioned. And so
Yeah.
you could get the book returned to you. Oh, but Joji, Victor, that's $2.50 to return it to you because that's a removal order. But the thing is, you can send it back in, and because the margins are high, you can still make profit. You can literally get a return, eat those costs back to you, send it back in and pay inbound shipping fees again, and then sell it again, pay Amazon fees, and you still make a profit.
Yep.
And not only that, I've had a book that I've sold get returned, send it back in, sold again, got returned, send it back in again for the third time, so I still made a profit.
Yeah.
That's
Unheard of.
crazy. That's unheard of. That's insane that that's even possible. So, yeah, all these returns, and I know you might say, but hey, 5 or 6 that 5 or 6% is the whole year, right? So we're taking into account obviously in textbook season, it is going to be a little bit higher because there are students that do that. But you also have to understand that it's a small percentage of your inventory. What people are not saying, Victor, is, "Oh, that one college book that sold for $125 is the one that didn't get returned? No, we're not gonna bring that book up. We're not gonna talk about that book because it didn't get returned. We're only gonna talk about the, small percentage of cases of the books that did get returned and completely ignoring the fact that we can just send it back in and sell it again and likely make money out of stuff." Alright.
And
I think
other times Amazon will just return it for you. Like they'll get the book, they'll look at it and they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, it's still in used condition," and let's put it back in your inventory.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Oh my gosh, this one drives me crazy.
okay.
So Joji, Victor, I really want to start selling books, but I just, I just really love books, and I want to make sure that the condition notes are exactly perfect. I want to make sure that they know that there's an underline on the first letter of the first sentence on the 14th page of the third chapter. And I'm only going to buy very good or like new copies. And they're like, I don't want to touch anything that's acceptable. I'm just like, okay, you're not going to make it because
Yeah,
you have to understand that most people, when they buy a book, right, they just want a book that is usable, right?
yeah,
And
right.
so it's okay to buy acceptable copies. If you're, as long as you're buying, you're doing a little bit of due diligence and using a little bit of smarts, and you're not buying a book where the description says it's a loose binding with ripped pages and the dog bit off half the book. Like, as long as you're buying acceptable condition copies of books with people from high feedback ratings or good or higher, you're gonna be okay. Like, don't stress so much about everything needing to be perfect about the condition notes.
Yeah.
Like,
When I hear people say they're like, "Well, should I buy acceptable copies or should I sell acceptable copies?" I'm like, "Yeah," because you acceptable is that the you listen to the word acceptable. It's acceptable. You can buy the book to sell it. Amazon wants you to
yeah,
sell these books. Okay, so there are mega sellers that sell acceptable books, right? So you buy it from a mega seller at acceptable, and then you sell it as acceptable
yeah.
and you make money off of it. All we're trying to do here is make money off books, based on patterns.
Yeah.
And acceptable books are no different.
And then people are always like, "But I bought that book in good condition from that
Yeah,
seller, and it came to me in acceptable condition." And they're like, "That's not acceptable." I'm like, "Wait, it is acceptable.
it is.
It's acceptable. It's not rejectable.
Yeah,
It's acceptable. You can
it's
still sell it."
acceptable.
People are like, "Oh, no, okay, I bought 10 copies of that book. That were good or better, and 3 of the 10 came back, so I'm never buying a book from that seller again." I'm like, "It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't
Also,
matter."
why not send back acceptable books? Why shouldn't you return them? Because you bought the book, say on the first, and it gets to your prep center on the 10th, and then on the 12th, your prep center finally graded your book as acceptable, but you think you bought it as good. So if you now decide, okay, well, no, I'm going to return that book, you've lost 12 days, right? Because you
Yep.
bought it on the first, the 12th, and you're going to have to return that book and buy another one. By the time you get the second book, you're out 20 days. So instead, sell the acceptable book. Just keep
Yep.
it going on the process. If it's acceptable, it means you can sell it on Amazon.
Yeah. If it's
What's
acceptable,
that?
it
Yep.
means it's acceptable. And but OG Victor, I got a book and
Yeah.
it was completely detached. It had dog pee on it. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
okay, we're obviously returning that book. But not every single book that's not deemed acceptable is that boy, that is a rejectable book. Okay, yeah, return that book. Okay. So I think a common theme that everyone's gonna hear is that there's always these anecdotal stories that people want to talk about, these like really rare events or discrepancies or things that occur, and they want to use that as the reason as to why it doesn't work. And it doesn't make any sense.
Georgie, I know we're going to deviate just for a second, but my little owl, right? Frank from Little Owl actually told me, "Hey, Victor, we're probably going to have to start charging for a return fee for books because of these booksellers who are returning books that are actually acceptable back to their sellers, and it's costing them more money than planned. So look, you're destroying it for everybody. So
Yeah,
just send in acceptable books.
yeah. We're just getting started. We got a long list to go, everyone.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
next reason. Prep centers, I don't trust prep centers. I don't know who they are. I don't trust them. They're gonna steal my books when they show up. And not only that, even if they don't steal it, they're gonna grade it incorrectly because they don't know what a book. They don't treat books like I do. They're not lifelong book readers like I am. They're
Yep.
not gonna flip through every page. Like, and every time I hear that, I'm just like, what are you talking about? I'm like, a prep center's business is to process as many books as they can. That's how they make money. They don't make money by stealing your $35 copy of some random book that they have no idea about whether it has value. That's just not what the business model is. Victor, how do prep centers make money?
The prep centers make money by prepping books, and they do it by doing it well. Otherwise, they're no longer in business.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's important to kind of hone in here, Joji, that me or you, we don't make any money off of recommending these
Yeah.
prep centers. So when we are like, these are great prep centers,
Yeah.
it's because they are,
Yeah.
right? They actually do well. And when people tell me that they can't trust a prep center, I'm like, okay, you have control issues, and you need to work on that before you get into this business. Because in order to be successful in this business, you need to let that go.
Yeah.
Okay? It's okay. You've never even seen this book. It's not important to you. What you're trying to do is make money off the book, okay? You send it to a prep center who's an expert at seeing books because they've seen way more books than we've ever seen in life.
Yeah.
They're able to grade these books better than us.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense why they're like, well, no, I and then some people have conned themselves in their brain to think, no, I like prepping my own books.
Yeah.
Uh, No, you don't. That's just you thinking again that somehow you like this better than actually making more money.
Yeah.
You would rather, open the box, figure out what you're gonna have to do with that extra box, put a sticker on a book, and carry it to a UPS center. Nobody finds that as fun,
Yeah.
right? Make
And
more money.
it's just a huge
Yeah,
time waste. You had to go all the way down to the mailbox. You had to get all the boxes out. You got to put them in a bag. You got to bring them up. You got to open all the packages up. And then you got to grade all the books. You got to list all the books. It's just so much time. And it's not that difficult of work. It's just time intensive. It's not incredibly skilled work. It's just, it takes a lot of time. And going back to Victor's point, prep centers process thousands of books a week.
yeah,
You do not process thousands of books a week. So, okay, I got 2 people. I've got you, Victor.
yeah,
You wanna do your own prep, and
right,
you may be able to look at 100 books a week because 'cause you're really on it, and you're doing a lot of oh, and then there's Lil Owl and there's Central. Oh, yeah, they touched 5,000 books this week. Who's gonna do a better job
yeah,
of figuring out the grade of the book? Is it gonna be the
yeah,
person looking at 5,000 books a week, or you, Victor, over here, little Victor, looking at 100 books per week, right?
yeah,
It's like, it
exactly.
doesn't make any sense.
Here, I'm actually gonna go get a book. All right, so let's look at this book, right? This is a book that if both me and Little Al had, and Joji had to hire one of us to decide whether or not this book was counterfeit,
Yeah.
I would definitely think between me and Little L having to go through all these pages, Little L would be able to figure out whether or not
Right.
this is counterfeit way more than me because I've only I only touch like maybe 10 books every like, month or something, while Little Owl sees like hundreds of books every day.
Yeah.
So that's a completely different thing. He knows about the spines. He like actually can smell the glue. I had no idea what I'm doing here, but
That was crazy. Both Shanna both Shanna and Frank said that at Books and Beyond. They're like, "Oh, yeah, so how do you know this kind of like, oh, there's like a smell to it." I'm like, "There's a smell? Well, I already know this." Oh, yeah, we look at hundreds and hundreds of books every day. I mean, we know which ones have that smell, right? It
yeah,
think about how crazy that they're literally telling you there's a smell. There's a certain smell to a book. That's and I'm just like, "Wow, okay, so you guys do look at a lot of books if you guys know that there's certain smells." Oh, well, it came from that region because it smells like that. Yeah, it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." That's pretty crazy. So the point is, if you want to scale in this business, you need to automate the parts of the business that make you the least money and automate the parts of the business that take the least skill.
mm,
And then that happens to be prep. It takes the least amount of skill to prep inventory, and it also costs so much time, right? You think you're saving so much money by doing your own prep, but you're really expending or spending so much time. Money and time are the same thing because if you're spending all your time doing this other thing, you're not spending it buying books, sir.
yeah.
That's the most valuable thing in this whole business is buying the actual books.
See, I wanna make this I wanna make this job I was about to say job, but I wanna make this business as enjoyable as possible for you guys, right? And so that is cutting out all the things you don't like to do. And
Yep.
what you don't like to do is prepping your own books. Even though maybe you think you do, you don't. It's better to go in and find books, go and find the hidden treasures and
Yeah.
buy those and make money from them than prepping books.
Yeah. What's always funny is people who eventually jump to the other side. They're like, "Wow, Joji, so kind of a crazy thing happened is so I shipped some books to Central Virginia Prep, and then they shut up an Amazon warehouse, and I didn't do anything." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what the prep center does. The prep center opens your books, they inspect, they ship them to the where." And like, but it's like until they see it actually happen, they're like, "Wow, really?" Like that. They're like, "But I didn't even see the book. I didn't touch the book. I didn't think about the book." And that's what makes this so amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Some
think we
people
really hit
some
that point.
people
Yeah.
some people even ask me like, "Okay, so the books have showed up to Little Owl. What do I do now?" Nothing. Nothing. I don't have like, they're ready to like, "Okay, here we go. What do I gotta" Yeah, there's nothing else. It just happens. They'll send it to Amazon. Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, yeah, yep.
Great.
That's
Next
the
thing I hear all the time, Amazon fees are too high. Can't sell the book at Amazon. Matter of fact, I was at a Christmas party tonight and I was telling some people what I do because you're always when you meet someone new, they're like, "What do you do? What do you do?" Right?
yeah,
So they ask
yeah,
about what I do and they're like, "Oh, I actually sell books on Amazon too." Like, but Amazon fees are just too high. So this is a person at a party. The Amazon, like, I sold a book the other week for this is what they're saying. I sold a book the other week for $250, and Amazon took $50 for that book. And they're sitting there thinking that that's just crazy. Amazon fees are just they're so high that you can't make money. And yeah, you have to understand there are fees. Like there's a 15% referral fee. 15% of the top line revenue of any book sale is just straight off cut off the top that goes to Amazon. But what you don't understand is that you did absolutely nothing to get that customer base. You did absolutely nothing to get someone to go to that listing, to find that book, to drive that traffic. Like that has value to it. If you had to build your own independent website and then you had to drive traffic to your website for every particular book that you're selling, do you know how much money you'd be spending to do that? And so I understand why you might feel like the fees are high, but the reality is there are fees because Amazon is driving the traffic for you so that you don't have to do that. And that's not understood by most people.
No, it's so true, Joji. The 15% is almost nothing. I mean, we did a video a while back about me running some frozen yogurt businesses, and just the rent was like $4,000 for one store. So $8,000 is what I was paying for rent in the two stores. And that was just to open the doors, right? And then there was advertising fees and way more than that, like electricity, security. We don't have to pay for any of that on
Yeah,
Amazon. They just charge us 15%. It's really a crazy deal that we're able to do that.
incredible.
And the fact, yeah, we're not driving any traffic to Amazon. I'm not like telling people, hey, you know what? You need to sign up for Prime. Prime has so many benefits to it. You'll be able to buy books. They're going to get to your house in 2 days. No, they're the ones who do that. All we're having to do is sell books that people want.
Yeah, they do all the customer service, and of
Yep.
course, there's also going to be a pick and pack fee, meaning that they are gonna charge you for, putting taking the book off the shelf, putting it then in a package, shipping it out because you do have to, you know, there is a cost associated with getting the book shipped to a customer. But guys, regardless if of whether or not you sell it yourself on your own independent website or Amazon sells it, like, there is a fee of shipping the item to a person. Unless you're gonna take every book that yeah, I'm gonna drive 1,600 miles across the country so that I can go deliver this book, like, there's a fee associated with that, and so, I don't know, when people tell me, like, that the Amazon fees are too high and that's why they can't get started, so I'm just, "Alright, you're just not gonna make it." I'm like, "You don't understand what Amazon is doing for you," and so, yeah, the fees seem high, but you have to understand everything that is being done for you that you do not have to do, and there's insane
Yep.
value associated with it.
Yep.
So, alright. Next thing, high pricing errors. Oh my gosh, Joji, major high pricing errors. Every single book that I try to sell. Yeah, high
Yep.
pricing error. Well, what do I do? Right. Amazon wants me to list it for 19.99. I bought it for $42. It shows on Keep it that sells for 120. What do I do? Do I list it for 19.99 and sell it a lot? No, don't list it for 19.99 and sell it. Just keep it there. Like if you bought a book and it's a good buy, you just have to be patient. You have to wait. Maybe you do have to get it shipped back to your house, or maybe you do have to get it shipped back to your prep center. Then you have to send it back. That's okay. But the other thing about this, Victor, is what I always ask when people complain about high prices. I'm like, oh, how many books? How many books do you have? How many books do you have stranded? And they're like, oh, I have 11. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. I thought you were over here like you got hundreds or thousands of books. And I'm like, I was about to, to have, yeah, I don't know. It's like there's so few books that you have that are stranded relative to the inventory size. Like, well, why are you worrying so much? Like, I get it. It's an annoying part of Amazon, but don't let that be a reason why you can't sell books.
Yeah, they'll focus on the one little negative.
Right.
They'll focus on the one book that has a high price error, or even five high priced errors, and not realize that the 200 books they sold this month on Amazon, right? So you sold 200 books, and they all went well, and you made a profit off of them, and you're worried about the five high priced errors. Don't worry about that. That's just part of the business. If you bought them correctly and you
Yep.
know what the value of the books are, they're going to return. The prices are going to return back to normal, and you'll be able to sell the book for what you believed in. You just have to give it some time. And that's all that high price errors is. I don't worry about high price errors. When I buy books, I don't think about, oh, this book is definitely going to have a high price error, so let's just not buy it. I don't think that at all. I think I want to buy a book underpriced and then
Yeah.
sell it for what it's worth. That's
Yep.
all I'm doing. And soon enough, the prices will return back to normal.
Yep. And for me, our business models are a little bit different. Like I sell a lot more long tail books. Long tail books do tend to be more prone to high pricing errors because of the fact that there's a lot less data because they sell less frequently. And at any given time, if I have 150 to 200 books in my inventory that are stranded, right? That because of high pricing errors. And I'm over here like, I'm not even worried about it because I know that all those books were purchased at an amazing price, and I know it's just a matter of time to wait it out. If I've got to wait 3 months and let it sit there and incur long term, incur storage fees like we talked about earlier, how storage fees aren't really that much, or even if I have to get it shipped back to my house, like I know fundamentally I bought a great book at a great deal.
Yeah.
Over time, nothing is going to happen to that book that makes it less valuable. Like it has a proven track record of selling very well for this price. It's just a matter of time before it returns that price. And maybe that's a privilege that I have that we've been able to build up capital. And so I don't necessarily need the book to sell right away. Like I can just let it sit there as an asset that has value, but I don't worry about it. And so when people come at me and go, high pricing Garage Joji, I've got 16 books, 16 books. They're high price. And I'm like, I've got 200. And I don't even care. Eventually they will get there. Right. So don't let that be a reason as to why you can't sell. All right. Goes all the time. Victor, Joji, the market is saturated. I go on BookMud, I go on Keep It Deals, I go on Keep Product Finder. I did a Keep It Deal search today. I was on there for 10 minutes and I couldn't find a book over 50% ROI. So what do you have to say for that, Victor?
I started laughing because I try to hold it in, but when they tell me that I can't find anything over 50%, I'm like, do you know how privileged we are that you're even able to say that you can't find anything over 50%? Meaning you found some books at 50%, and you're like, "Oh, no, 50%. I'm not I'm in a business model, I'm trying to go for more than 50%." Well, I think you need to start going to, like, looking into, like, the illegal market because 50% is amazing. I don't know where else you're gonna find that at. There's no market out there that's 50%, but yet we're at 50% and we still have people who are like, but 50% is too little." And I just don't I, again, don't know how to deal with those people.
Well, and I
Let's go open a regular business and then come back here, please.
yeah, go over to a frozen yogurt store, physical storefront, try to make your 6% per year. Okay. And then when you're like, wow, that was a lot of work for not making much money, then come back and see how great it is.
Yes.
But it's both ways, Victor. There's people who are like, I was on Keeper Deals. I was on Bookmine. I
Yeah.
couldn't find anything out of the 50 books I looked at. That was, that was even up to 50%.
Yeah.
Right, and then there's other people down here going, "Oh, yeah, I found a 72%, and I'm really aiming for 100%. I'm gonna get turned down." So you have it both ways. You have people saying that they can find over 50%, and then you got people who are over 50% saying they're turning it down because they want an even higher margin, and I think it's just a lot of people don't come from the background of running other businesses, or they don't understand that big box stores and restaurants and retailers are not making insane margins. Like, it's very difficult work for very slim margins on a lot of those businesses, and even a lot of the other Amazon businesses. So, yeah, back to that, also the market is saturated. I started a YouTube channel. Victor started a Facebook group years ago, both of us. Somehow, despite the fact that we share all this information, we just sell more and more every year. Like, how's that possible? How's it possible I can teach thousands of people, Victor, thousands of people that are now selling books now, and I'm selling more.
Between both of us, we've shared it to like 6,000 people, and we're still selling more than we've sold before. So it should show you that the market is huge. The When we tell you that there's 100 million books on Amazon, we're not just making that number up. We're not where other people are saying, "Oh yeah, 110%." Well, 110% is fake because it's only 100%. We're actually legit, like, it's a realistic number. There's over 100 million books. Not joking. If you wanted to count forever, you could go and find there's actually 100 million books on every keep yeah, yeah. Keep tracks that many books, and there's over 100 million. Matter of fact, it's got 105 million books on Amazon right now. And so we're not going to be able to buy all of them all up. I mean, Joji says he has about 2,000 books in his inventory. I have about 1,000 books in my inventory. That's 3,000 books. We're dropping the bucket of the
I'm not even
100
a drop of
books.
the drop.
Yeah,
But, like
for the drop.
that mist that's, like, when you go outside and there's, like, that mist that's, like, on the side of the object, right? It is not even, like, coalesced into a water drop. It's just like a mist. It's like, oh, you can kinda see it there, but it's like, it's not really there. And we've even done YouTube videos where we've talked it like, during textbook season, where we would show books that we sold, and we had one day where I think I had, like, I don't know, was it a couple $1,000 day, and you had a couple $1,000 day, and we didn't sell one book that was the same.
Right, right. You had like a $4,000 day. I had like a $5,000 day. And multiple times, Joji, I'm gonna go back to this book again, but I've gone like, because this is actually a good Christmas book. I tell people, "Go and buy this book. Buy this book," and still it does well because, again, there's so many people who want these particular books that the market still holds up. And
Yeah.
so don't think the market is saturated. It is
Oh my
not.
gosh.
There's
Remember the
so
way
many
that
books out there.
with that one comment, how do you deal with the fact that the very Christmas songbook is a losing seasonal flip? Because I was like, but I bought it for 10 and I sold for 40.
Yeah, yeah, right. Oh, yeah, he was willing to admit that you could actually have bought it for 10 and sold it for 40, but to him, that was losing, which I don't know. I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah.
and because
I'm like 100% ROI. That's a losing seasonal flip.
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't
and
understand that.
we make all of our money selling courses, even though we give those books away for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Oh, this is a good one. Joji, Victor, love the model. Love everything that you put out. But there's one problem with your business model. You've got 100 cubic feet and then you're done. That's it. That's 1,500 books. You're capped out. No more books. Guess what? If you can't send more books into Amazon, that's it. That's your model's dead because you can't scale. It's not a scalable model. To which we say, have you done a little bit of research? Have you looked at the capacity model? Have you requested more space and realized that getting more space is essentially free? Like, wait, what? Wait, you can get more space for free? I'm like, yeah. Didn't you just do a little bit of reading? You're like, okay, here's a YouTube video. Like, oh, wow. So wait a second. I can get performance credits and get a 100% of it, essentially credited back to me. Oh, okay, okay. So, is there a limited space when it comes to book selling?
Absolutely not, Joji. I currently have just the standard 100 cubic feet, but say tomorrow I wanted to like build this business from what to 3,000 books is what I normally have by like May. If I wanted to put that to like 30,000 books, it's possible. It's really easy. Just go on Amazon, the capacity manager, bid for space, and because books are so expensive and actually only take up such a small amount of space, you can bid up to whatever price they ask you for, and you'll actually make all that money back and more. The space to you is free.
It is
All
essentially
you
free.
guys, yeah, it's essentially free. You're having to go through a few of the rigmaroles here, but at the end of the day, you're not going to pay for the extra storage because you're going to be able to sell those books on Amazon, and they give you a performance credit for those. So yeah, there's really no limit here with books, and booksellers just really have it really good with the capacity
Yeah,
limits.
it's actually I love it because so many people like Amazon's out to get us. Amazon's dead. Storage capacities and that's actually it's a good thing that the storage capacity limits are there because all those people they end up quitting because they don't realize that if they just did a little more research, they can get that space for free. So with the performance credits, essentially what happens there is that 15% of the revenue that you sell with that extra space is used to offset whatever you bid per extra cubic foot. So right now you could probably, for each additional cubic foot you need, pay $1 and good times up to $3 per extra cubic foot.
Right.
And with the 15% of the revenue that you sell, I mean, it all gets like credited back to you as long as you're selling books. So it's essentially free space. So that's a good one.
Yeah,
All right, I
it
love it.
gets offset. It gets
Yeah,
offset.
it's
So
offset.
if you're a bookseller, it's gonna get offset.
Yeah,
You won't have to worry about the calculations. As long as you actually use the space that you bid for, you're gonna get it offset.
yeah.
Every bookseller does.
Yeah, and then they're like, "But what if I don't use the space that I bid for? Like, I'm only using 20 cubic feet, and I know I'm capped at 100. But should I go ahead and request more?" I'm like, "Why would you request more? You're 20 cubic feet. You're
Yeah,
good. Well, you don't need to request extra space." They're like, "But you told me I need to request extra space." And it's like, guys, come on. You got to think a little bit. Like, okay, you're using 20 cubic feet. Oh, how many books you planning to send? Oh, maybe 20 books a week. Like, don't worry about it. It's not something you worry about until you get there. And once you do get there, you see how easy it is to get more space. But
when you get close to 1,400 books, then let's worry about it. Then DM us or watch one of our
yeah,
videos about it, and we'll guide you through it.
that's another thing is people always let obstacles or challenges that will happen far down the road prevent them from getting started. Like, oh, George Victor, I want to drive on this road. I want to go down this journey, but yeah, you see all the way down there, 4 miles down there. Do you see that bump in the road? Oh, I'm not getting started because when I get there, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go over that bump. And you're just like,
Uh,
dude, that's so far in the future. Like
yeah.
with a lot of the things that people see, in terms of preventing them to get started. All right. Next thing, I actually love this one the most is my own parents. My own parents do this. Everyone around me is like, "Oh, it's great that you're selling books, but we're about heading into a recession."
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but recession's on the horizon. Uh, Joe Biden just got elected president.
Yeah.
We're recession, or Donald Trump just got like recession, or
Yeah.
the economy is going well now, and so everyone's like, recession is on the horizon. We're in a recession, and so I'm not going to get started because I heard that the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates by 0.25%, and that means I can't get started. So, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Those are such macro events. Like you're such a like we are all so small relative to this entire world, this entire economy that if you let things that macro decide what you're doing going forward, like you're just not understanding. You're not understanding the scale of it.
No, I get a lot of DMs every time there is some major thing in the economy thinking, well, books must be affected by this because the economy is going to go into recession. Trump just got elected. Biden just got elected. COVID happened. Whatever it was, they're always going to find the people are trying to find an excuse to not do books, which is crazy. Just start. Why are you always telling me reasons why you're not going to do it? Just start it. Like books, I've seen have been recession proof. Whenever there's a recession, books do even better. Textbooks do even better in recessions. Why? Because if you're in a recession, what happens? People get fired. Unfortunately, people get laid off and they don't have a job. So they don't have a job. What do you think they're doing? Because they go and try to find another job, they can't get it. They're like, "All right, you know how to fix this? Going back to school." And guess what? They have to go get a textbook for that school, and so textbooks actually, rise in demand, and when there's more demand, the prices rise. So they're recession proof. Books are just amazing. There's no reason to not have books. I mean, like, let's just go, like, again with the same book. It's a cookbook, so people eat, right? Cookbooks. People eat and they need books to, like, figure out how to, like, cook good food. So there always gonna be demand for books, and, stop coming to us and giving us excuses of why not to start. Just start.
Oh, that's my favorite one, the
Yeah.
recession one,
No,
the
no.
books are a dying industry or that no more physical books. Those are my favorite ones because they're just on the face of it, like, I guess they kinda make sense on the face of it, but when you just dig a little bit deeper and you actually think about it, it just makes no sense. Alright, next one, Victor Joji. It's great and all. I mean, I seen you started posting content, Victor, in 2018, 2019. I was trying to get in 2020, but then COVID happens. I didn't get in 2020, and then the bull market run of 2022, whatever, and then 2023. In 2024, I know it just wrapped up and did great, but I feel like it's just kind of too late. Like, I think pretty sure books are on the way out. With all the fees and all the changes that we're seeing, Amazon doesn't want booksellers. They want all new products. Like, I don't know. I think I kind of missed it. So I can't start anymore. I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" When I started in 2015, people were like, "Books are dead. You can't sell books anymore." I'm like, "That was like a decade ago." And it's like going into 2025, Victor, I am more confident than ever that if you start now, you can still start a successful book business.
People have said that since the beginning, since I started, that the market was saturated, that there's no way we can get into it. And now, yes, now they're using the excuse that they're too late. If they've been watching our videos for too long, and now the excuse is that because they've watched it for too long, they may probably miss the best part, which was years ago, which again is just a wild reason to tell us that they can't start because they should have started earlier. But I can tell you, if you started now, a year from now, you will be so happy you did, because again, it's just really difficult to fail in books because the profit margin is so high, the customer return rates are so low. It's just a great market to do it. It's and
Uh,
and if you have goals to be a better person in 2025 and beyond, it's a great way to kick that off. Go and start this business, start buying some books. You'll be happy you did, and we're here to help you out, right? We've been doing this for years. We're going to continue to do this. We don't secretly go and buy other products while we tell you books are great, because we both believe books are great. We just do books.
Yep. Next thing that I love, Amazon, Victor, Joji, Amazon. It was good while it lasted,
Yeah.
but Amazon really is out to get us books out. They're really out to just get us. They have our number. They're out to get us. And not only that, I have slow sales because of Amazon. So I'm gonna go and put blame on everyone else but myself. It's like, no. It's like Amazon is not hiding your listings. Amazon is not preventing you from selling books. Amazon is not the reason why you're not being successful. You have to take ownership and understand that you have to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong that's preventing me from going forward and selling more books? And so the one I get all the time is, Joji, Victor, I like this model, but yeah, I'm only selling like one book every other 3 days or every other 2 days. And I'm like, all right, well, do you have a lot of books? Like, I've got so many books. I've been buying books like I'm like, well, how many books do you have? I'm like, I have 100. I'm like, oh yeah, that's about right. They're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, booksellers you sell, but between 0.5% and 1.5% per day. Like that's normal. And then there's this is like, really? So it's just I need to add more books in inventory. It's just this constant thing of like, it's never my fault. Like it's Amazon's fault. It's my cousin's fault. It's my neighbor's fault. It's the recession. It's that Donald Trump got elected. It's that Joe Biden got elected. Like, it's always somebody else's fault, and it's not your own fault. There's always something in your business that you're probably not doing right. Like if you are having slow sales, it's something that you need to take ownership for, that you can fix, that you have control over, and so you just take ownership of it.
Yeah, you have to take ownership in it. Exactly, Joji. It's If you're not selling enough books at a fast enough rate, something has happened and you did it. You like
Yeah.
either you're not buying quality books, you're not pricing the books well enough, or you don't have enough books in your inventory. but
Yeah.
it's you, right?
Yeah.
So both me and Joji, I don't know if we've said this on this channel, but both me and Joji play pickleball, and you can buy a really great paddle, and you can blame it on the paddle. Oh, this paddle sucks. Is the reason why I'm not doing doing so well in pickleball is because this paddle is just not great. Or you can actually look into yourself and realize, oh, I must not be great, not this paddle, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually the player, not the paddle. And
Yeah.
so it's the same thing here with the thoughts of Amazon. If you're not selling much, it's because of you. You're doing something that's
Right.
not going so well. Oh, it's not having to do with Amazon. It's not because you live in Ohio and somehow Amazon doesn't like Ohio, and so now they don't sell any books in Ohio. Like, I've seen actual thoughts like that. People have actually wrote those comments out saying, "Yeah, I've heard that anybody who sends it to this one warehouse, nobody's getting sales in that one warehouse," and they're trying to get data saying to prove that fact, which just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The reason why you're not selling books is because you're not buying quality books. I already said this, but, like, those are the reasons why, not because of anything Amazon's trying to get you, right? Amazon's business is trying to make money. So they're trying
Yeah.
to sell the best quality books at the best prices.
Yeah.
And so
So,
if
so
we meet those,
yeah. So tell me. So it's
yeah,
Amazon's fault, Victor, right? That you have 100 books in inventory, right? That's Amazon's fault,
yeah,
right?
it's Amazon's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's oh, it's Amazon's fault that you bought a bunch of bad books using Kiva, right? That's Amazon's fault, right?
All
It's
Amazon.
like yeah. So it's these are the things that taking ownership, like that's I think what separates Victor and I from other people, not just in Amazon, but in life in general, is that I think we've always been go-getters and that like we've always felt like our success is dependent on our ability to figure out how to do things well. And if we don't do things well, how to do it better. And I don't know. Having gone through life, I realize that maybe not a lot of people are like that, but that is what is going to determine whether or not you're successful, is whether or not you're able to understand what's in front of you and see, okay, if I'm not getting the results that I want, what's the reason for that? And not as a default blaming other people or blaming Amazon. It's not Amazon's fault that you priced that book incorrectly. It's not Amazon's fault that you didn't buy enough books. It's not Amazon's fault, right? For all these other reasons. So just take ownership and that'll help you become better. Now, last thing that I want to wrap up with are just unrealistic expectations. There's so many people that are like, I want to buy a book today, ship it to the prep center, ship it to the Amazon warehouse, and a week later want to make 140% ROI on that one book within 7 days. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like you have to understand that the fact that you can get 50% plus in books is already just insane. Like there's like no other business out there that you can get that kind of margin. But it takes time. Like you have to understand that when you buy a book, it's from a merchant fulfilled seller. It's gonna take 7 to 10 days to get to the prep center. And then it's gonna take 2 days for the prep center to open it up and ship it out. And then it's gonna take another week to 2 weeks to get to an Amazon warehouse. And then Amazon might fulfillment center transfer it anyways, and that takes 2 more weeks. And then just when it's said and done and it's active for sale, it might have already been 30 days. Right? Like you have to understand that's realistic.
That's
That's
just the cost of doing business. That is what we have to do to make money on Amazon. And but if you think of any other business, it's very similar. Like this hotel room that I'm in today took like more than a year and a half to be built. So imagine I'm spending a year and a half to build these walls, to build the electricity, the water, the gas, the plumbing, just to get my first customer in the door. And I'm not even making 50% yet, right? Because I probably got one guy in here. And that's a year and a half later. But yet I'm getting people. Matter of fact, I even got a person today who told me, "Hey, book mine's great, but I was really hoping to get something more faster than 3 months. I know you guys sell. You said you sell books within the first 3 months, and that's good and everything. But I was hoping to turn over even quicker. And I just think it's just unrealistic.
yeah.
Again, you need to learn the market, the a business model that sells at a 3 month period like that is an amazing market. There is almost no such thing out there. And it's about setting your expectations correct. We're not selling you, a scam here. We're not telling you you're going to make $1 million tomorrow. We're not telling you you're going to make $100,000 in a couple of months. It takes work. It takes some time, but soon enough, the snowball will start happening. You'll make really good money from it.
Yeah. Man, this is a fun video. I feel like I lost my voice, but these are the things that we hear day in and day out. And what's funny is that as we grow larger and larger, we just hear more of it. And
Yep.
that's just the reality is that there's so much out there that people use to justify why they can't get started or why their mistakes are, or why the mistakes that they are making, why they think that they're because of some other reason. The reality is you have an amazing business model here. Victor and I are really doing our best to get you as close to it as possible. We're literally trying to get you as close as you can to the buy it now button, where literally everything else is automated. But at the end of the day, Victor, we can't click buy it now for you. We can't do that. You've got to put in some work. You've got to have some ability to look at things from a broader perspective and realize that the economy and who the president is and whether or not there's a hurricane in the Northeast, like those things don't affect you. Like they don't matter. They're all just noise that's preventing you from being able to do work and be successful. So I don't know what people are gonna think of this video. Let us know down below in the comments. Were you here the whole time? Let us
Yeah,
know. Is the real OGs were here. So let us know if you're a real
really
OG.
unique video. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a unique video. I had fun making it. And it's more of like a rant or just like getting things off our chest because we hear the same thing just over and over and over and over again. I'm just like, you gotta look a little bit deeper because all this stuff is just noise. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed the video and
It
we'll
was
see you on the
it
next
was a
one.
great video, Joji. Thanks for doing with me.
All right. See you guys in the next one.
All right,
Peace.
bye.